Basketball fans, welcome back. So the Dallas Mavericks fan base is likely still processing what happened when their franchise star in Luka Doncic was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis. So despite all the narratives that are being put out there, these are four reasons as to why the Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. So in a move that sent shockwaves throughout the NBA, the Dallas Mavericks made the unthinkable decision to trade away Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for a package centered around Anthony Davis. Luka Doncic, a perennial MVP candidate, and the player who just led the Dallas Mavericks to the NBA Finals last season, was widely seen as a franchise cornerstone for the next decade. But however, behind the scenes, there were growing concerns that led the Dallas Mavericks to pull the trigger on this blockbuster trade. So in this video, we're gonna get into it and you're gonna unpack everything. So, but before we get started, man, please be sure to like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified because I'm going to be giving you a ton of content of this nature. So, without further ado, let's just get into it. So the decision wasn't about basketball, but it was about long-term stability, fit, and the harsh reality of building a sustainable contender. So from concerns about Luka Doncic's conditioning to the uncertainty of his next contract, the Dallas Mavericks saw this as the time to move on from him. So that also meant Doncic was not the one who initiated the trade out of the Dallas Mavericks and was reportedly stunned in learning that it was purely a management decision that they wanted to move on from him. So this was a wild situation. The majority of the time, it's the players who request a trade from the organization, similar to what is happening in Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler, which I'm going to cover in the next coming video. So meanwhile, acquiring Anthony Davis gives them a defensive anchor to complement Kyrie, along with a more balanced roster to compete for a championship. So the Dallas Mavericks are doing it all over again. They let Jalen Brunson walk, and you've seen what Jalen Brunson is doing with the New York Knicks in the Big Apple. The man has been balling out all season, and ever since he had that breakout career year in the playoffs in the postseason for the Dallas Mavericks, subsequently making it to the Western Conference Finals, but getting beat by the eventual champions in Golden State. You can see Jalen Brunson was improving, and the Dallas Mavericks saw that they don't want to pay this guy, and they let him walk. And this is the same thing they're doing. They're just going to give you an excuse as to why they're traded an all-time great 25-year-old who is the best 25-year-old in the NBA. But hey, it is what it is. So while the Mavs fans may still be in disbelief, there are clear reasons why the Dallas Mavericks chose to part ways with Luka Doncic. So let's talk about the real reasons as to why. So number one, Luka Doncic's weight and conditioning issue. So this was a major concern. One of the biggest concerns that led to Luka Doncic's departure from the Dallas Mavericks was his ongoing weight and conditioning struggles. So multiple reports surfaced that Luka Doncic had ballooned to up to 270 pounds this season, a far cry from the fitness level expected from a franchise player. So that was a growing concern coming in from the front office and reports. So while Doncic's skill set remained generational, and he is better than a vast majority of the league, even when out of shape, the Dallas Mavericks front office, led by GM Nico Harrison, was growing incredibly frustrated with Luka Doncic's inability to maintain peak physical shape, especially for deep playoff runs. It's actually quite questionable. I mean, the man took you to the NBA Finals, man. We did see Doncic get gassed at the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals last year. Whether that was down to conditioning and all that, I mean, the man was playing out of his mind, and he was playing even through injury. So I mean, the front office at this point was just crazy, or the fact that, or was it they thought that, was it the conditioning, or was it the fact that the opposition was so good? So that was the problem that the front office was trying to understand. So Nico Harrison, the Dallas Mavericks GM, also made it clear that the organization was shifting towards a defense-first mentality, and Doncic's conditioning raised concerns about his long-term durability. So the Dallas Mavericks have seen their superstar wear down late in seasons, and with the Supermax extension looming, They questioned whether they wanted to fully commit to a player who hadn't shown the discipline needed to be an elite athlete year round. So those things, especially when it comes to his conditioning and this potential supermax looming, is eligible for a $345 million contract. So that is one of those reasons why the front office looked at it and they said, you know what, let's just move on from this guy. So instead, the Dallas Mavericks opted for Anthony Davis, a proven two-way star, to build a roster more in line with the championship aspirations. So you can't deny the duo of Luka of Kyrie. I mean, I don't know if you say Luka. A duo of Kyrie and Anthony Davis looks promising, but we have to see how it plays out. So a lot of times you're going to see people downplay Anthony Davis. At some point, I even saw people saying that people are talking about Anthony Davis to the Dallas Mavericks, and they're talking about him like he's a Hassan Whiteside. It's like his son Whiteside. So that's crazy, man. So look at number 2. Luka Doncic's Supermax contract this summer. So Luka Doncic was eligible to sign a 5-year, $345 million Supermax extension with the Dallas Mavericks, but there were lingering doubts about whether he would commit long term. So while negotiations could have taken place, whispers around the league suggested that Doncic wanted to see what kind of roster Dallas could build before fully committing to that deal. So the front office feared that if they failed to construct a true championship contender around him, he might hesitate to lock himself to another long-term deal. Rather than risk an uncertain future, the Dallas Mavericks decided to take control of the situation by making the move now. So there's that growing trend of NBA players going out and holding the organization hostage. I could even cite Anthony Davis when he was in New Orleans, forcing his way out. We saw PG requested a trade from the Pacers, requested a trade from the OKC Thunder, and all that. Yeah, then we have seen also Kyrie and KD requesting trades. So it's the franchise is held hostage, and the front office decided to just take matters in their own hands. So by acquiring Anthony Davis, they ensured they got a defensive anchor in return instead of waiting for Doncic to potentially leave down the road. So this proactive decision also gave them roster flexibility moving forward instead of being held hostage by a superstar unsure of his long-term commitment. So the Dallas Mavericks front office just said, you know what, we're not gonna wait for you to come and screw us out. So they decided to say that. So it has been known that Luka Doncic is no longer eligible for the Supermax extension with the Lakers and will almost suddenly sign a long-term deal for less money. So that $345 million contract extension that he was supposed to, that money he's not going to see it because that is the veteran players extension. That the designated players extension is not eligible for that. So when he got traded to the Lakers, where he's now a Laker, Luka Doncic, the maximum money that he can receive at that range is at the 220 million. So that's the money that he's gonna get. Anyway, that's not less money, but potentially he has lost about 150 million, and I can even add like a 20 million in bonuses. So that's a huge blow. Number 3, Luka Doncic might have requested a trade in the offseason. So there's also a growing speculation that if the Dallas Mavericks fell short of another NBA Finals appearance, Luka Doncic could consider requesting a trade this summer. So in the Western Conference loaded with elite teams, the path back to the finals was anything but guaranteed, even with the acquisition of Klay Thompson this summer. So there's that. And another early playoff exit will have immense pressure on the front office. So these are the things that the front office, man, they just didn't want to deal with this pressure. So if Doncic had made a request at this point, Dallas will have lost significant leverage, limiting their ability to get a strong return. So by trading him now, the Dallas Mavericks were able to dictate the terms of the deal rather than scrabbling to make a move under duress. So with them taking control of this situation, they didn't want to get in a situation where they were going to overpay or underpay. So there's that. So the Dallas Mavericks, they secured Anthony Davis, who, despite his own injury history, is still a top tier player when healthy, and he fits towards the defensive oriented mentality that the Dallas Mavericks have at the time. So while it's never easy to trade a generational superstar, the Dallas Mavericks believed it was the best moment to maximize value before the situation spiraled out of control. So this was all speculative. And we don't know what can happen with that duo of Kyrie and Anthony Davis. So even long term, we will be able to gauge the success. So if you see how Luka Doncic is going to have a good output with the Lakers, and you're going to see how Anthony Davis plays out the Mavericks, maybe we'll understand who is going to win or lose. So then there's another, this last point. This one, it really ticks me off. So Luka Doncic is not a good defender. So this is actually crazy because Luka Doncic is a guy who leads in scoring. At 25 years of age, he's the best player in the NBA at 25, and he's somebody who can even give you 45, 50, or even 60 points in any given night when he's locked in and he's hot. So the Dallas Mavericks front office and Nico Harrison's philosophy was very simple. So defense wins championships, and that's why, despite Luka's offensive brilliance, the Mavericks felt they needed to move in a different direction, which I feel like it's a boneheaded move, and they're going to regret it. I mean, these are those dumb trades those dumb decisions that will cost them down the line. So Luka Doncic has never been known for his defensive ability. Of course, man, he's built to score, and he's built to carry the load in the offense. You can't expect him to be a Kawhi Leonard. You can't expect him to be a Paul George. You can't expect him to be a Jimmy Butler. Like, that's not who Luka Doncic is. But anyway, it is what it is. So Luka has never been known for his defensive ability. And while his size and IQ allows him to make plays at times, he has consistently been targeted in high stakes matchups. So this situation was concerning from the front office. So his lack of lateral quickness and conditioning issues, which I've talked about earlier, only added to the Dallas Mavericks' concerns about building a true contender around him. So in contrast, Anthony Davis is a proven defensive game changer. So Anthony Davis is a 9-time All-Star and has anchored elite defensive teams throughout the years. When we talk about the years, we're talking about New Orleans. He was that guy. We talk about the Lakers. He was that guy as well. And this trade, when they acquired Anthony Davis, this gives the Dallas Mavericks a legitimate interior presence alongside Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. So with Anthony Davis, the Mavericks believe they can construct a championship-level defensive team while still maintaining offensive firepower with Kyrie and Klay Thompson. In the end, moving on from Luka Doncic was purely reshaping the franchise identity and also defensive mindset, and also the money that was going to be committed to Luka Doncic. It was apparent and it's abundantly clear that the real reason as to why Luka Doncic is not wearing the Dallas Mavericks uniform anymore is purely because of the financial commitment. I feel like you can't trade away somebody that has been that important. I mean, it's crazy. So do drop me your comments down in the comment section down below. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.